What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wholesale with Joe. I'm your host, Devin Hager. Got another awesome deal breakdown we're going to do. This is a very unique deal. A lot of challenges, a lot of crazy hoops we had to jump through to get this deal done, but it was very profitable. We made over $40,000 on the deal. And I'm going to go through the specific details of this property. So we did a novation deal. So for those who don't know, I've talked about it in other videos, but a novation agreement is where you get limited power of attorney from a seller to be able to market the property both off market and on market. So the difference between a standard wholesale deal that you're doing is that in the purchase agreement, you make that agreement assignable. So, but in this scenario, you can make it assignable, but also get a limited power of attorney so that you can list the property on the open market and attract end buyers. So we do these types of deals where the purchase price doesn't work for us to really make money on a wholesale side, or the seller owes too much. So we just got to try to find an end buyer that can do the deal and for yeah, just to maximize profit as well. I do think we could have done an assignment on this one. Our fee probably would have been maybe $5,000 to $10,000 based on the condition, what the property's worth. So we chose to go the novation route, and it was a great win. We were able to make, like I said, over $40,000 on the deal, and we were able to help the seller in many ways. And God bless the seller. She'd been going through a lot. She actually had, so she was a web lead. She actually reached out to me, man, probably back in November, and I tried getting a hold of her. She was a web lead. She submitted her info on my website. I couldn't get a hold of her. I called her, I texted her, and no response. And she was really out of the way as well. So trying to do a stop by would be difficult as well. Because we try to do our stop bys and get in touch with people if they're at least within like close proximity to other people. So we're not just doing one stop by that's an hour away for one person. So and I got her info again. She submitted her info to my website. She called me she submitted her info, and then I believe she called my number as well. And it's like, hey, I just submitted my info. I need to sell my house. I'm like, oh, hey, Crystal, like you actually, yeah, I got your info about a month ago. Just what's going on? She's like, well, I was supposed to sell my property and move up to New York ASAP. And the previous buyer backed out the day of closing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awful. So she'd going through some financial situations, um, and she was under contract to buy another property up there, and it completely just botched everything. So she's like, I need to get this amount for my home, and I need to walk away this amount of cash so I can buy my new property up in New York before February 6th, I believe is what we put for a closing date. So we ended up closing January 30th or for 31st. So it worked out in our favor to close sooner for her, and so she can get what she needed. So I'll just show you the property real quick. So it's a cute little property. It's a cinder block house, CBS, or excuse me, with a metal roof, built in 2007. So it's a great house. And it's in Martin County. And for those who don't know, Martin County, Florida, it's just north of West Palm Beach, and it's a great market. The price per homes are really expensive. So I sent my acquisition manager Lewis out to the property, and she's like, hey, I have to get. She was under contract for like 180, and it's like, oh man, I don't think we could do anything at 180. It's just based on the condition of the home and what homes are going for. It was going to be tough to do a wholesale, let alone a wholesale deal, but even do an novation agreement. So able to get under contract for 165, 500. We're like, hey, let's see if we can make a quick 15, 20,000. So we did a flat rate listing. And then we got her to sign the novation agreement. We got it notarized, get it listed on the market. And within the first day, we were getting multiple offers. And the biggest reason is, even though this property's kind of out in the sticks a little bit, to find a home listed for under $200,000, we listed at 199, 900 to try to get attraction to the property. Like we just got blown up on it, and we ended up getting an offer for 220. It was a financed offer, and like, great, this is perfect. And they were willing to pay 10,000 above appraised value, so they really wanted the property. They were getting an FHA loan, which is a risk when you're doing novations and you're dealing with properties that need some love. Like FHA buyers can be tough to work with at times, and we kind of went through that on this property. So I'll quickly go into the details on that. So we get to the week before closing. This buyer said they're willing to pay 10,000 above appraised value. The appraisal came back at 210, so which still worked because like, hey, we were willing to pay 10,000 above appraised value, so they did, and so we were able to stay at our price of 220, which turned our profit what we thought was going to be 15 to 20,000 to now it could be over 40,000, which is great. So and then they let us know though, like 5 days before closing that, oh, by the way, the appraiser came back and said, we need you to fix the doors that are broken in the house and we need you to fix the kitchen cabinets. And we're like, what? Like, you're telling us that freaking 5 days before closing? Like, that's crazy. Why didn't you tell us about this a week ago? And the seller was really stressed out. She'd been going, like I said, through some personal stuff and just really trying to get everything situated to move. And she's like, and then she's letting us know, hey, I don't know if I want to sell anymore. This is all too crazy. There's so much going on. I don't have the money to get a U-Haul so I can move. And so I take a step back because this is a really stressful moment for me. I'm like, oh gosh, this is a big deal. We really need to get this closed. It's really important that we can make this happen. We've worked really hard. My acquisition manager has busted his butt on it. My operations manager has worked really hard on it with the listing and everything and coordinating and with the agents and all that. And so I take a step back, I take a deep breath, and I get on the phone with her and I'm like, okay, so what do you need from us right now to be able to get this deal wrapped up? And she's like, well, Devin, I don't have any money to move. Like I'm going to get my money at closing. That's going to go towards my new purchase up on my new house that I'm buying. Okay. So I said, all right, well, what if I was able to do this? What if I was able to give you, I'm like, how much do you need? She's like, well, I need about 3,000 for the U-Haul. And look, in a perfect world, ideally, I never like to give sellers money up front before closing, but under certain circumstances, it needs to be done. Like I did another Novation deal recently that we made about $35,000 on, and the closing got delayed by a week, and the seller needed the deposit for their new rental property and needed $6,000. And so, rule of thumb, always have them send receipts so you know exactly where the money's going to. So I gave her $6,000 because she would be homeless. She wouldn't have anywhere to go. And so it was a risk, but it was for me that $6,000 risk on that deal was worth it to make the $35,000. And in this scenario, giving this seller $3,000 was important as well because I'm like, I need to help this lady. We promised we'd help her. We promised we'd close on time, and we're going to do it. So I gave her $3,000. We send out our contractor to fix the doors and to also fix the cabinets in the kitchen that were broken that needed to be done so it would pass inspection so that the lender would approve the loan. So there was a lot of hurdles we had to jump through. We had to get people out there. We had to pivot and do a lot of different things. We had to talk to the seller to calm her down and make sure that she's in a good headspace so she could still sell. So we worked really hard on this one. And we really did everything in our power to provide as much value as possible for the seller to help her. And honestly, like that's one of the main reasons why I chose to go with Joe Home Buyer. Like I'm gonna preach them to the high heavens. Like what they teach within their ability on wholesaling is not like, hey, not just how to make tens of thousands of dollars on deals and make millions of dollars in your business, but the value in serving your sellers, the value in serving the people that you work with and putting them above everything else. Because when you do that, like in my experience, all the best deals that I've done where I've made really good money on the deals has usually been my highest fees that I've made, whether it's a flip property or a novation or a wholesale. When I go out of my way to serve the seller, I usually come out on top really well from a financial standpoint. But to me, the most important thing is serving the seller. Like, and Robin Sharma talks about this. He's like, your net worth, you said your net worth is a reflection of your impact. And and so that's something that I'm going to be focusing on this 2024. And all of you that are getting into wholesaling, whatever business you're in, focus on your impact. If you're impacting a lot of people's lives, that is going to reflect on your net worth and on the revenue within your business. So our team is working really hard to generate more opportunities. We're really trying to ramp up our marketing so we can get more leads, more appointments, and more contracts to help as many people as we can because we have the incentive and we have the focus on serving the people that we work with. Like I got a great acquisition manager, Luis Otero. The sellers love him. He goes out of his way to serve them. He does stop buys with them. He brings them. He's brought them groceries. We've given money to sellers up front in order to help them with some of their needs with moving and paying bills. And we do that because we understand that these people are people. It's not just a house. Like it sucks that like I said, I'm not perfect and I've made mistakes within my business and have let the ball drop with some sellers. But overall, like my intention is to always serve the seller. And if we can't, and if it's not a deal for us, then to try to put them in the right direction moving forward, whether it's listing with an agent or finding somebody else that can buy the property if we're not able to help them. So like I said, this is a great deal. We had a really good profit margin on it. And that's the value of novations. Like it's really important within your wholesaling business. Like ideally, I would love to just talk wholesale. Like, hey, wholesale this like every deal we do is a wholesale deal. We're not doing any flips, we're not doing any novations. But when the marketing isn't working great at times, and we have leads and we have people that need our services, but there's not enough equity in the home, and so we're going to pull out the tool belt and say, hey, does it make sense to refer them to an agent? Does it make sense for us to do novation on it? Does it make sense to buy it and flip it, or does it make sense to take over their existing mortgage and do a subject to or seller finance option on it? We pull out those things in our tool belt when we have to. See, my priority is let's do wholesale and let's just do wholesale. But when we can't, we want to be able to provide value in other ways. So I hope this video helps. Like I said, it was a great win for us. We're really excited. And yeah, please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoy the content. I hope this video gives you the tools you need to be successful in your future endeavors in your wholesale deals. And so, yeah, good luck. Thanks.